Since the dawn of time, man has been looking for one thing. No, it's not happiness or a partner.
It's a creamy keyboard.
With a number pad? Huh!
Wait, but why is it flat though?
Howdy hey, I'm Hipyo Tech and I try keyboards so you don't have to. And when Iqunix told me that they listened to all of my gripes about their previous keyboards and made the Iqunix Magi 75 and 96, I got a little bit excited. Well, okay, maybe they didn't listen to some of my requests. So in this video, I'm gonna look at Iqunix's 2 newest keyboards, figure out who they're good for. I'm looking at you, Europe. I'm gonna discover what the heck this random X button is used for and why they're so creamy.
Oh my god, they're so creamy.
Anyways, this video is sponsored by Iqunix, who did not review this video, did not tell me what to say, and all of my thoughts are my own. Now, I have 2 keyboards here in front of me. The box that they were delivered in was incredibly boring, so we're not going to look at that, but they were in 2 nice containers. Bags, or what do you even call this? Semi-soft, semi-hard shell cases? Anyways, these keyboards start at $139 US and go all the way up to $179 US. And I'll talk about that distinction a bit more as we go. And also, if you click the link in the description to look at the product page, you'll notice it comes in 2 different colors and a lot of different options. There's a Pro option for both the 75 and 96, and then there's ANSI US, ISO DE, ISO UK. What is this, like European stuff? Anyways, now that I got all the Europeans about to type a nice thocky comment, the DE version is German ISO, which you very rarely see on keyboards, and the ISO UK version is, why is this not like Brexited or something? I don't know. This already makes it one of the best low profile keyboard options if you're in Europe because your main competition is like Keychron. But that's if you really like the ISO layout with the weird split left shift and the really big enter and a bunch of other things that honestly, I don't care to ever understand. Yeah, you type another thocky comment, type another one. Anyways, this is a low profile keyboard, which is one of my favorite keyboard styles recently. And in the hard soft shell case, you do get quite a lot of accessories, like those aforementioned keycaps for ISO versions. If you buy the ISO version, that is. You also get a really nice metal accent keycap, which is a very good touch, and a coiled cable that I really wish just wasn't coiled because it isn't coiled well, and a cable that's not coiled well is a cable that shouldn't be coiled at all. Just give me a nice straight braided cable, please. It just feels tacky when I've already paid $140 for a keyboard to get a cable that doesn't look good. Also, for some reason in the Magi 96, I got a really nice quick start guide that taught me how to use this keyboard, but in the Magi 75 I didn't, so I have to assume that also should come with one. But there was all the detail for hotkeys and everything available online. Now, if you're new to the world of keyboards, howdy hey, please subscribe. I make lots of videos on keyboards and maybe sometimes other things, but you're probably gonna hear a lot of jargon and I'm gonna try and make it as simple for you as possible. First, this is the 75% keyboard. It has 84 keys, it keeps your F row and your arrow keys, and it kind of squishes everything together. And this is a 96% keyboard. It has 100 keys instead of 108. It keeps your numpad, but then it tweaks a couple weird things. If you're someone that really likes a numpad, then you might want to look into this version. But hey, you also might notice this keyboard has a really weird thing on the side of it, and that's because this is the Pro version. It has a knob. It has a multi 4-way button that feels really unsatisfying to press but is quite useful. Now, both of these keyboards are made out of an incredibly sturdy feeling aluminum with a tray mount that has a slight bounce to it due to their lay tray structure. Why are we calling this a lay tray? Make it more layman's, please. Dang it, I really tried. You also might notice that both of these keyboards have an insane amount of foam and things going on in them, and generally they look really nice, with the Pro version having a lot more character due to this little side section. Now in the low profile keyboard space, there are a ton of different options nowadays. Like I literally just looked at a ton of super cheap ones in my last video, link in the top right, but this is one that is slightly more premium and might have to do a little bit more to defend that title. All of the foams that are in this keyboard, if you're new to keyboards, theoretically come together to modify the sound and make it sound really nice and creamy and lovely alongside the great switches and the PBT keycaps that are shockingly nice as well. But we'll take a deep dive into the sound later, because you're probably wondering why a low profile keyboard in the first place. Well, this incredibly flat keyboard might just feel better for you to type on if you're coming from a laptop keyboard. It also might feel way worse for you to type on if you're coming from a standard gaming keyboard with OEM or cherry profile keycaps. You're going to have a generally shorter travel distance when pressing the keys, which could make it feel faster and more responsive, or maybe make it so you feel like you're pressing things accidentally. And with these low profile gold red switches, which are white for some reason, that's even more confusing. You just have a very nice linear press through. Now, I've praised Iqunix in the past because on their low profile keyboards, they typically opt for Kale switches, which are some of my favorite, thockiest, creamiest switch options. Now, these are hot swappable, meaning you could remove them and replace them with other switches, but it is a relatively tight ecosystem. So if you buy a low profile keyboard, don't expect to be able to swap out the keycaps or switches very easily. There aren't a lot of keycap sets available, and the ones that are might not be super duper interchangeable. Same with switches as well, because just because it's a low profile switch, the pins might be in a different spot if it's made by Kale or Gateron, or a different brand. So with the general lack of customization, what are you getting on these keyboards? Well, what I'm showing you here is the Pro version for $159 US. The Pro version of both of these keyboards has this little side console. The bottom section pops off and reveals the 2.4 GHz dongle because this keyboard does support wireless over 2.4 GHz, Bluetooth, or a wired mode that you can switch through really easily and fast with just a hotkey press, meaning you can connect to multiple devices. It's a feature that most keyboards offer, but on this one it does work very seamlessly, which I like quite a lot. You also get a volume knob and this 4-way button that is really nice because it reprograms like a regular switch in VIA, the software that this keyboard supports, albeit with a little bit of clunk. Now, I tried connecting this keyboard to VIA and had some issues because it recognized it natively, but when connecting, it did literally nothing. So I had to go over to the Iqunix website, flash this weird, sketchy firmware, and then download the JSON file and drag it into VIA for it to properly work. Once I did that, however, the software experience was super duper flawless. I was able to reprogram all the keys. You can even set custom knob options, which is really nice. And this 4-way button reprograms like regular keys. So right now I just have it set to media keys, which is great. Now in general, both of these keyboards, the 96 and 75, sound incredibly creamy. But one thing that I noticed that was quite odd, despite them having a similar structure, the same switches, and the same amount of foams, the 96 sounded remarkably more thocky. So while the 75 had a bit of a creamy clack, yeah, I know this is a lot of jargon, the 96 had a bit more of a creamy thock, and you'll see for yourself in the final sound test. The one thing that both of these keyboards did have that made me a little bit disappointed, however, was a ticking spacebar. Now, I'll give you a bit of an example here. Yeah, that's not great. However, I was able to pull the spacebar off, add a little bit of lube, and it was way better. Kind of unacceptable nowadays, honestly, considering most, even budget keyboards have really properly lubed stabilizers, but hopefully they improve in the future. There's also some rapid fire features that I think are nice, but you might think are totally pointless, like RGB, 1000 Hz pulling rate over wired, ability to hit somebody with it and probably kill them. And in general, aside from the ticking stabilizers, I think these keyboards are incredibly nice. They feel like a breeze to type on with the super duper smooth switches. There's a nice little elegant bounce to it with the tray mount, the lay tray mount. And if you need a keyboard with ISO support, then you probably don't have that many other options if you want to go with a low profile. However, based off reading your guys' comments, I don't think many of you will be that happy with this number pad considering it's not a full real number pad. But I'd like to know what you think. Is this keyboard good in your opinion? Have you tried it? Will you be trying one? Let me know. And here's the final sound test.